let's get to Virginia Republican politics. Chairman, Republican Party of Virginia, John Whitbeck. Mr. Chairman, good to have you.
Good morning, John. How are you?
Never better. Let's set the stage. Hashtag Crazy Freddie. Freddie Burgess, State Central member, about a month ago, and before that, putting out absolutely crazy posts. One, anti-Semitic, has made a lot of people upset like me, and you called for him to resign. He didn't do it. So then you put the petition out. You need 1/3 of your State Central Committee members to sign a petition to have an emergency meeting or to put it on the agenda for your meeting next month. And then you need 2/3 to remove him as a member of the State Central Committee. Explain to everybody where you are in the process, when the meeting is, and how it works.
Well, you got it right, John. I mean, in order to remove a member of the State Central Committee or any official committee in the Republican Party of Virginia, you got to get 1/3 of the members of the committee to sign a petition. That petition then is served, if you will, on the person, along with what our party plan calls the charges. And that person gets at least 30 days notice of this, and at the next regular meeting, the thing is adjudicated. And in this particular instance, we put out the petition, and we had about 70% of the committee sign it. So, I mean, it's way beyond the required 1/3, which is really a testament to how serious our people are taking this matter. And it's going to be on March 24th, and Mr. Burgos will be given opportunity to present his side, and the committee will vote. And if 2/3 decide that removal is warranted, he will no longer be a member of the State Central Committee.
Where is it being held, and what time?
It's going to be 10 a.m. in Richmond. We've been holding in a conference room in the McGuire Woods building. One of our members works for McGuire Woods. They have this huge, beautiful conference room that they give to us. We've got 79 members, which by then we'll have over 80 members because we'll fill some vacancies. But so yeah, it's going to be there, and it is open to the public unless for some reason somebody makes a motion to put it in closed session. But I certainly don't support that, and I doubt there'd be a majority vote for that anyway.
Is it also open to the media?
We don't exclude anybody from it. I mean, certainly the media has shown up at times. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I imagine there'll be some media there. So it'll, once again, Mr. Burgos' actions will mean we've got to debate exactly what racism is, as obvious as this is. We'll have to deal with the media story of it instead of talking about the president's tax cuts and infrastructure plan and the great things our General Assembly members are doing. We'll be distracted again by this kind of stuff, and hopefully it'll be over on March 24th.
Why doesn't he just resign and end this thing?
Well, I can't get inside his head. I mean, he's put out a bunch of things saying we're defaming him and everything. But, when you say Catholics are sinners and idol worshipers, when you say Islam is a death cult, when you call immigrants subhuman, or I think I'm paraphrasing, didn't exactly say that, but something to that effect. I mean, it really, I just don't see how you can possibly call it anything other than rank racism and bigotry, and it has no place in our party. And have we learned nothing from 2017? I mean, this is the message the Democrats are hammering to our president. He's a racist. The party's racist. We're all a bunch of racists. And they used it in mail. They took out a deputy sheriff who also served in the General Assembly in his first term. With that alone, Rocky Holcomb. They crossed out his name Rocky, and they put racist Holcomb on all the mail. And this is a guy that serves as a law enforcement officer. I mean, they have no shame. And if we tolerate this kind of stuff in our party, we're just feeding the beast that is the Democratic machine that took us out in 2017. And the other thing too that's really alarming, and this is why so many people are concerned. This was a direct attack, premeditated attack on a Jewish man running for chairman of the Fairfax County Republican Committee, and the slogan that was used was "Make Fairfax Great Again" in that attack. Mm-hmm. And when you put the president's message, which is one of the best messages we've ever had in politics, when you put that message alongside racism and bigotry, you're just creating more of the narrative against our president. Our president, we should be supporting our president. We shouldn't be doing anything to hurt his chances of winning the argument and then winning the debate and then getting legislation passed. And that when we do that, when we sort of put together bigotry with Trump, it's an unforced error that's got to be eradicated.
You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network, trucking the truth across America. We're with Republican Party of Virginia Chairman John Whitbeck. They have a special meeting now scheduled March 24th of the Central State Committee members of the Republican Party. They'll be voting on whether or not to oust State Central Committee member Freddie Burgess. I call him Crazy Freddie, from the State Central Committee. They need 2/3 of votes to do that. It appears, from what John's saying, based on the number of voters to get this on the agenda, 70%, it appears they're going to be close to that after the debate. Freddie Burgess has said he's not going to resign, but I think the straw that broke the camel's back, I mean, there's been a lot of things he said. It's one thing to say something and you're in the bathroom and whatever, shouldn't have said that. It's another thing to post it. I mean, once you post it on Facebook or whatever you do, I mean, it's there forever, right? So it's not like you were misquoted or somebody took out a text. I mean, you posted it. Basically, what he said, the straw that broke the camel's back, if you will, is that he was for Tim Hannigan, who was running for chairman of the Fairfax County Republican Party against Ben Ginsburg. And he says, look, we need to vote for Christians, not Jews, or something of that nature. I'm paraphrasing it. But it was basically like, don't vote for the Jew. I mean, you simply can't put that on a Facebook post and then have a leadership position in the Republican Party. You just can't do it. I mean, if that's what you believe, I don't really care. Here's my thing. I don't really give a rat's tail what Crazy Freddie believes or what he does. It's none of my business. I could care less, right? But if you want to be a member of the State Central Committee, that is the governing body of the Republican Party of Virginia, you simply have to take on a set of responsibilities. And one of those responsibilities is don't put up racist stuff on a website. And if you can't refrain from doing that, and that's your personal belief, then get the hell out. I don't care what you do. Go on Facebook every day. Quit your job and do Facebook 19 hours a day for all I care. But you can't be a part of the governing board of the Republican Party. Now, let's get to Tim Hannigan. So, Tim Hannigan's a good guy. I was backing him for chairman over Ginsburg because I think it would be a better chairman. Fairfax losing by 130 to 150,000 votes a pop needs new leadership, right? I don't care who's there. I'm for change. How much are you going to get beat by, 180? I mean, you got to look for something. But I can't support Hannigan now because he wouldn't distance himself from Freddie Burgess. So when Tim Hannigan had an opportunity to say, look, I'm done with this guy, go away, he didn't really do that. He said, I don't agree with him. He's not part of my campaign, but we need to do an investigation. And he kind of defended him because he was afraid to alienate his supporters. You know what? I'm looking for leadership that can stand for something. I have no interest in Hannigan. I have no interest now in the race. I don't know who's going to win. I don't care, but I certainly can't back Hannigan because I think, look, John, we need leaders that are going to stand for something. And I think Hannigan had an opportunity and he took, I might cost myself votes instead of do the right thing. And so I, for one, lost interest. Again, that's just me. I'm not there. They can vote for whoever they want. But I really think if you don't oust this guy, you got a big problem there. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, how do you possibly justify, having someone in your leadership who makes these kind of comments? I mean, we might as well just concede the argument the Democrats are making. And,
Right.
Jack Kemp is sort of one of my heroes in politics. I mean, this is a guy who believed that you take the Republican creed, if you will. We have a Republican creed in Virginia. You take that to the inner cities and the places that have been left behind by the Democrat rule of the 60s, 70s, and into the 80s. And you bring the Republican message in there, and you teach how opportunity and freedom and liberty actually is the way to prosperity in the American dream. How are you possibly going to be able to look people in the eye that are Jewish or Muslim or Catholic? I mean, for crying out loud, Catholics. What is it? 25% of Virginia's population. I mean, how are you going to look a Catholic in the eye and say, yeah, you know what? You really need to vote for our candidate for governor or United States Senate or Congress, in the next couple of years. But we think it's okay for one of our leaders to call you an idol worshiper and a sinner. And as a Catholic myself, I mean, I'm a Republican. I don't get offended very easily because, we just, political correctness, is run amok. But, look, I mean, I'm not an idol worshiper and I'm not a sinner because of what I believe. And I just think the party needs to take a stand on these things. And I really, I've had it with these unforced errors and these, missteps that we're making. And then, and then the far fringe of the party saying, oh, you're trying to purge conservatives and you're trying to purge, Trump supporters. Well, look, I think the president would agree with what we're doing here. The president's not going to go out and defend calling 25% of Virginia's population who happen to also be Christian worshipers and sinners. I just don't think the president's values are there. And so I think it's time for us to take action.
Crazy Freddie is an embarrassment to Trump, the movement, and everything else, and I think he has to go. Let me just ask you this straight out. Do you think you're going to be able to get 2/3 to oust him?
Well, look, I mean, 70% of the people put their name on a document that's not necessarily made public, but easily could be public. So that's well over the 2/3 required. So I just don't see an issue. And look, I mean, the State Central Committee, has tolerated a lot from this guy, and now it's time to take action. I'm pretty confident they will.
Is there any chance that it's not going to be an open ballot?
Well, certainly somebody can make a motion, but I mean, look, everybody in this instance should want it to be open. I mean, you should want to be on record condemning these things because they're indefensible. Mm-hmm. And if you're not willing to do that, I mean, I just don't see any scenario where the majority of State Central members want to close off, who they are and what they stand for. I just don't see that, and I think it's safe to say it'll probably be open.
We're with John Whitbeck. He's the chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia. They've lost 10 statewide races in a row. They've got another issue now to deal with. Crazy Freddie and his racist, bigoted comments. He's a member of State Central. That'll be voted on in a meeting of the State Central Committee of the Republican Party of Virginia on March 24th, 10 a.m. in Richmond at McGuire Woods. I'm going to put that in my calendar right now. Can't wait to go. I just got to see it. So I'll have to figure out, what time I'm on the air and off the air and all that, but I have to be there. John, let's get to a little spat inside the family, right? Under the family tent. Got a little fight going on. Glenn Davis ran for lieutenant governor, statewide candidate, House of Delegates member of Virginia Beach, took to the House floor, the well, on Friday in an unprecedented move, absolutely blast Corey Stewart for his press conference. Corey Stewart, the Republican chairman of Prince William County, ran for governor, almost upset Ed Gillespie. Now Corey Stewart running for U.S. Senate nomination, 5 candidates in the race. And at a press conference, Corey did on Thursday at the Capitol, calling the Republicans that voted for Medicaid expansion in the House, he called them flaccid and said that he feels sorry for the wives. And he also yesterday called Glenn Davis a little twerp. But Glenn Davis blasting him, saying that he was a charlatan. So we got a little fight going on here. I mean, are you going to referee this or just let it go?
These are both big boys. They can take care of themselves. I don't referee things like this, and I don't get involved. Unity comes from people feeling like they're treated fairly, and the party must be at all times fair to everybody. So we don't get in the business of calling out or attacking, candidates for office in any particular race. If Glenn Davis did what he did, he felt like he needed to do that, fine. Corey did what he needed to do. But, I will say this. I'm an 11th Commandment Republican. I think that, and this goes back to a little bit to the Burgos situation. I mean, certainly the responsibility lies squarely with the person who made the Facebook post. There's no question. But, you talked about Tim Hannigan. This all started as an attack on Mike Ginsburg because he was Jewish. It then sat as we were working to get removal started. A Republican blog decides to post a weaponized hit on Tim Hannigan. To basically and I'm talking about bearing drift. Post a hit on Tim Hannigan when they knew about it for days and said nothing. But all of a sudden, they wait and they time it right. And if you go on Democrat blogs, there is nothing but anti-Republican, Yeah, and most of it's crazy, but it's anti-Republican legislation, anti-Republican elected officials. You go on Republican blogs like Bearing Drift, and 90% of the time it's attacking the RPV, it's attacking conservatives, it's attacking everything but Democrats. And this 11th commandment that was created back in the 70s during the Reagan years when he was running for governor is important. We have one mission as a party, and that's to elect Republicans at every level of government. And you're either with us or you're against us in that. And if you're going to continue to trash your own party, I just think the 11th commandment needs to stand for something. We got to get back to that in our party.
Well, I agree with you. I mean, I thought the whole episode was unfortunate, right? Unfortunate, because at the end of the day, Republicans have got to find a way to work together. But this isn't going away. I mean, Davis isn't going anywhere. Either is Corey Stewart. And we'll see how it plays out in the Senate primary, and we'll see what the next step is. John, I only got a couple more minutes. You're losing Fairfax by 150,000 votes a pop, right? You keep doing that,
right.
You're not going to win in this state ever. I mean, ever. I mean, the president asked me the other day, he said, can we win Virginia or no? And I'm like, I don't think so. And he said, that's what I thought. I mean, I don't see it. I mean, we're losing Fairfax by 150,000. We're losing Arlington by 80,000. I mean, you got 220,000 in two cities. You can't possibly make it up. What do we do?
Well, one of the things that we're doing is, I've shed the consultant-based, poll-based, old way of doing things that really is driven our way of running elections. And I've gotten us back to the grassroots. We're doing a series of summits across the state. We've done 5 of them. One in Fairfax, one in Virginia Beach, one in we were down in Abingdon, Virginia, in Southwest. We did one at the Advance in December, and we have one more to go, and that's in Harrisonburg. It's going to come in April, and basically we were pulling everybody. I mean, I even have personally invited people who think that I'm responsible for all these losses, even the ones that happened before I was chairman. And I brought all of them in. I said, look, if you have something to say, let's say it. If you're from the grassroots, if you're a party leader, elected official, if you're just an activist, if you're in the Tea Party, if you're in the Liberty Movement, whoever you are, I want to hear from you instead of hearing from the latest poll, the latest consultant about everything. And it's been amazing what we've done. We've discovered a lot of atrophy in our units. We need to improve our local units. We've discovered a lot of people, are really want to volunteer, but they don't feel welcome anymore.
All right, I'm getting to the bottom of the hour, John. I'm pushing up the bottom of the hour clock. Sounds like you got a talking tour, listening tour going on. I'll get back into it. I want to thank John Whitbeck for being with us, John. Don't mean to cut you off, but I'm up against it here. John Fredericks Radio Network, Trucking the Truth. Stay with us.